Let's be real. For a long, long time, human resources was kind of seen as a cost center, right? A necessary part of the business, but maybe not the most glamorous. Well, what if I told you that's all changing? Today, we're diving into how HR leaders are transforming into some of the most powerful strategic drivers in a company. And they're doing it with one incredible tool, people data. We're going to be borrowing from the playbook of Malvika Jethmalani, a 3-time Chief Human Resources Officer. So, how do you actually make this shift from support function to strategic powerhouse? Well, here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about why this is HR's new mandate. Then, we'll get super practical on how to turn all that data into real influence. We'll cover how to build a rock-solid data foundation, find that sweet spot between data and your own gut instinct, take a peek into our AI personalized future, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with a concrete playbook that you can take with you. So, why now? What's with this huge shift? Honestly, it's pretty simple. In today's business world, data is the language of credibility. Every single major decision, from marketing spend to product development, it's all backed by numbers. So for an HR leader to really earn the trust of the CEO and the board, speaking that language, it's not just a nice to have anymore. It is absolutely non-negotiable. And this quote from Malvika, it hits the nail on the head. Showing up with a dashboard full of charts isn't the end game. I mean, think about it. The finance team doesn't just show a spreadsheet, they tell a story about profit margins and growth. HR needs to do the exact same thing, but with stories about talent, engagement, and retention, and then connect it all back to the bottom line. Data gets you in the room, but storytelling, that's what makes people lean in and actually listen.
Okay, so we get the why. It's clear. But what does turning data into influence really look like when the rubber hits the road? Let's get out of the theory and jump into a real-world example. Yeah, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or, as you're about to see, the multi-million-dollar question. How do you actually connect the dots between a people metric, like employee turnover, and something the whole C-suite cares about, like the company's bottom line?
$4.5 million. That's not a typo. That's how much money one HR team realized was walking out the door every single year. And just from one business unit. Now, they saw high attrition, sure, but they didn't just report the number. Nope, they dug deeper. They started layering in exit interview data, engagement scores, manager ratings, and then they connected the dots and found that their employee turnover was directly causing customer churn. That is how you get everyone's attention. So how'd they do it? It wasn't some ridiculously complex formula. It was this simple but incredibly powerful framework. First, the what. Hey, our turnover rate is through the roof. Next, the so what. Well, because of that, we're losing valuable customers, and it's costing us $4.5 million a year. And finally, the now what. Here's our plan to fix it, which, by the way, costs way, way less than the problem itself. See? This is how you reframe HR from a cost center into a value driver. All right, this all sounds great, but let's pause for a second. You can't build this amazing data storytelling house on a shaky foundation. Before you can even think about telling these big, compelling stories, you have to get your data house in order. And honestly, this is often the hardest part of the whole process. Here's a secret that a lot of people don't talk about. The super complex analysis, the fancy algorithms, that's not the biggest hurdle. The real roadblock, more often than not, is just having clean, reliable data to begin with. You'd be shocked how many new HR leaders spend their first 3, 4, even 6 months just untangling a mess of inconsistent data before they can even start looking for insights. So to fix this, you need a strong system for data governance, and it really comes down to these 3 pillars. First, accuracy. You've got to run regular audits to make sure your data is actually correct. Second, compliance. With laws like GDPR and all the new AI regulations popping up, getting this wrong can lead to huge fines. And finally, trust. This is a big one. You have to be transparent with your employees and your leadership about what data you're collecting and why. It's all about being a trusted steward of people's information. Okay, so once your data is clean and trustworthy, there's another crucial element to add into the mix, the human one. It's all about finding that perfect balance between the hard numbers and the wisdom that only comes from real-world experience. This brings up a really important distinction. Are your decisions being data dictated or data informed? Because they sound similar, but they are worlds apart. A data-dictated leader can get trapped in analysis paralysis, right? Always waiting for one more data point. But a data-informed leader, They use data to sharpen their instincts, to recognize patterns they've seen before, but faster and with a lot more confidence. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? As an experienced leader, you often get a gut feeling when something's not right. The data isn't there to replace that instinct, it's there to prove it, to back it up, and to make your case totally undeniable. It's that powerful combination of hard evidence and hard-won wisdom.
And listen, getting that data foundation right isn't just critical for today. It is the launch pad for the next massive wave of transformation that's already heading our way: artificial intelligence.
Okay, check out this survey from Gartner. It is absolutely stunning. When employees were asked who they would trust to give them fairer feedback, only 13%, 1/3, chose their manager over an algorithm. Now let's be clear, this doesn't mean everyone loves AI. What it really shows is a deep, widespread distrust in our current systems for performance management. It tells us there's a huge opportunity for technology to help us do a much better job.
And AI is going to do that by completely changing the employee experience. We're moving away from those old one-size-fits-all policies. The future is all about being hyper-personalized. Think about your experience on Amazon. It knows what you like, it makes recommendations. Now imagine a workplace where AI suggests a career path based on your unique skills, or helps a new parent find childcare benefits the moment they need them. That's exactly where we're going.
So let's pull all these threads together. Let's build a simple, actionable playbook that you can start using today to become a more strategic, data-driven HR leader.
First things first, you have to understand the difference between leading and lagging indicators. A lagging indicator, like your turnover rate, is like looking in the rearview mirror. It tells you what's already happened. It's too late to change it. But a leading indicator, like employee sentiment scores, that's like your GPS. It gives you a glimpse of what's ahead, allowing you to be proactive and fix problems before you start losing your best people.
And here it is, your core strategy, boiled down to 3 simple steps. Number 1, always start with the business problem, not with the data you have. Number 2, use that super powerful what, so what, now what framework to tell your story. And number 3, this is the most important part. Always tie your people data back to tangible business outcomes, things like revenue, customer retention, or product innovation.
So, to wrap this all up, your organization is already telling a story with its data, whether it realizes it or not. The real question is, are you going to be the one to step up, interpret that story, shape the narrative, and use it to drive real, meaningful impact? Are you ready to write the next chapter?